This is a huge day for you, for the president, and let's face it, for Benjamin Netanyahu and his allies and supporters. We know that they believe this to be a great deal because they've said it, he has said it from the podium. But I want to pick up on what the president said, that he wanted to make this a win-win deal, including for the Palestinians. Can you tell me, sort of lay out precisely where you think the win is for the Palestinians, the precise details?
Perfect. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that today was a big accomplishment for President Trump, something that only he could have done. He met yesterday with Prime Minister Netanyahu, but also with General Gantz, his opponent, in a time of very divisive politics in Israel where they can't agree on much. He brought the country together on what has been the most divisive issue. What he's also done is we've released an 80-page detailed plan. In the past plans, you had the Arab Peace Initiative, which is a very good effort, which is about 8 lines. And then you had past proposals, which were 2 to 3 pages of wordsmith documents, really talking about high principles. He also got Israel to agree for the first time to a state, and he got Israel to agree to a map. So what you've seen today is that President Trump's built a lot of trust with the state of Israel. He's done a lot of great things that have made Israel more secure and the relationship between America and Israel stronger. And what he's been able to do today is deliver for the Palestinians a pathway to a state, a contiguous territory, and conditions where they can earn their way to their independence, their dignity, all these different things, along with a $50 billion economic plan that could make them a very, very thriving state in the future. So it's a big opportunity for the Palestinians, and they have a perfect track record of blowing every opportunity they've had in their past, but perhaps maybe their leadership will read the details of it, stop posturing, and do what's best to try to make the Palestinian people's lives better.
I guess I want to ask you, because clearly the president himself, President Trump, said, we'll wait to see what the Arab world says, because what they say will be, very important in terms of how this will play out. It was noticeable that in the White House in the White House ceremony, there was only the ambassadors from Oman, the UAE, and Bahrain. Given that the Palestinians have rejected it and the Jordanians have already issued a statement, which I can read parts of it to you, where does this go next? What do you think is going to happen next, since there has not been the fulsome support publicly from the heavyweights in the Arab world?
If you look at what President Trump has done in the region overall, he's unified the region around common goals and shared enemies. So what we've been able to do is get people to focus on Iran and their malign behavior by putting a chokehold on their finances. We've stopped a lot of funding of terror. When President Trump got here, there was ISIS had a caliphate the size of Ohio. He's destroyed that, and he just killed their leader, al-Baghdadi. And he's been working with Saudi Arabia and a lot of the other countries to combat extremism and the ideology. So what we're seeing from a lot of other countries is they're very, very thrilled that there's finally a real effort on the table, there's a real plan on the table, a real offer, and that President Trump was able to secure that. They recognize that no other president would have been able to achieve that, and they're hopeful that the Palestinians, for once, will do something rational, come to the table and negotiate. And so the terms are not final terms. This is an opening offer, and if the Palestinians come and they have some adjustments, they want to move the line, they want to change one of the sentences, they want to negotiate on different things, there'll be flexibility.
If indeed this is a basis for negotiations and the Palestinians do take up the offer and come to the United States or to the administration, try to negotiate, that's one thing. So I want to ask you then, you called it a conceptual map, and you've called this a basis for negotiations. The Israeli Prime Minister has stated that this weekend he will impose the laws of the State of Israel, those are the words out of his mouth, on the Jordan Valley, on those areas in the West Bank, he calls it Judea and Samaria, where there are settlements and other such places, and presumably over Jerusalem as well, or I don't know about Eastern Jerusalem, but nonetheless. If that happens this weekend, is that with the approval of the United States?
Yeah, I don't believe that's going to happen this weekend, at least not as far as I know. But again, a lot of these areas, just the reality is that Israel's there and they're not leaving. There's never been a deal where they've contemplated doing it, and it's not pragmatic. I'm not looking at the world as it existed in 1967. I'm looking at the world as it exists in 2020. You have 5 million Palestinians who are really trapped because of bad leadership. So what we've done is we've created an opportunity for their leadership to either seize or not. If they screw up this opportunity, which again, they have a perfect track record of missing opportunities, if they screw this up, I think that they will have a very hard time looking the international community in the face, saying they're victims, saying they have rights. This is a great deal for them. If they come to the table and negotiate, I think they can get something excellent.